Dude, he was really.
Check.
I mean, he's a big guy. He can carry it.
Check.
He was even big.
Check. Hello.
Checks.
I think we're live on TikTok.
Are we?
Yeah, see, please.
Are we live on the TikTok? Is this a TikTok?
Yeah, TikTok.
Okay, I'm gonna go in. No, we're not live.
There's something else you have to push.
I mean,
click this little record button.
because normally it says, "Oh, now we're live."
Yeah, there's always a little bit of a delay, like about a 4 or 5 second delay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Gonna get started here in just a few seconds. We've got a lot of great stuff to talk about this evening. Welcome everybody on YouTube. Hello, TikTok world. How are we? Let's see. We're getting some people in slowly. Got a lot of things to talk about, everybody. How is everybody? Birds got in here. That's awesome. All right. Welcome, everybody. So, welcome to the Everything True Cinema podcast. I think this is episode maybe 5 or 6 now. I am joined with Sean Makinich and Aaron Stoverwright. You guys know the gig. You know how this goes. We've talked about them before. Great and talented people. I try to surround myself with great and talented people to make myself look even better. That's a joke, but kind of true. I want to talk about a few things, and we've got some movie reviews. We've seen a lot of movies this week between all of us, so we want to discuss a few of those things. Hello, Ben Rollins. Welcome. Hello over here, everybody. First things first, I wanted to. It is a strange coincidence. It's a very strange thing, but this is something that's. I don't know how else to get this stuff off my chest sometimes, but one of the things I want to talk about is, as an independent filmmaker and someone that's been doing this for, I think, 20 years or very close to it, it takes a long time to get to the point where you're making material that's strong enough that people actually want to pay to see it. And, some people that happens very quickly, some people not so much. For myself, it's taken a while. So in the last, 10 years or so, I've been very fortunate. I have been making movies as my day job. But every once in a while you make a movie and you believe in it. And what I find is that the predatory sickness that is in this industry is just disheartening. It's just disheartening. I'm not going to bore you guys with a bunch of garbage, but I'm going to tell you this. I had a company come to me about a movie. I won't say which one, but it's a movie that I've had now for a little bit. And they tell me they want a ticket to Cannes Film Festival. They want to sell it for me. Now, when you make a movie, they're supposed to give you money. But this company wanted to not only take 30% of the money that the movie made, but they also wanted me to allow them to keep the first $50,000 that the movie made after it was sold so that they could use it for expenses. And I knew I wasn't going to do that, but I was curious. What are these expenses, sir? Please tell me. And I am supposed to pay for this guy's hotels when he goes to festivals. I'm supposed to pay for the dinners he has with the people that he's talking to from the festivals. I'm supposed to pay for his flights, his entry into festivals, and it just goes on and on and on. So a company like this probably buys, I would imagine, at least 20 movies in a year, probably more. It would be hard to make a living if that's all you had. So my point is, for goodness sake, this guy's going to take the first $50,000 from every movie that he gets. And what's sad about this is I know better, but there are people that have worked so hard, borrowed money from grandma, mowed lawns, whatever it is they've done, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, borrowed money, used inheritance and credit cards to make movies, something that they've always dreamed of doing, and then they finally get it done, and some creep tries to rip you off for your money and disappear with your movie. The reason why I bring this up and it makes me so upset is because I know that there's a lot of people that will fall for this crap, and I just hope that you don't. I hope that you don't. Believe in yourself, believe in your story. It might not be as good as you think it is, but it probably means something to you if you've done it. So do not fall for this crap. Don't let's put these jerks out of business. Let's just put them out of business. I'm so sick of this crap, you guys. It's not fair what these people will do to you. So, and the reason why I bring that up is I had already planned on mentioning it, but I literally just got a follow-up text from this guy trying to explain why what he's doing is okay. So, moving on. Welcome. Now that I'm all fired up, my blood's pumping. I'm ready to go. I've got some stuff we want to talk about. Again, welcome, guys. Thanks for being here. There was a little bit of a miscommunication tonight, and luckily everybody was here to get here on time, and we get this stuff ready to go. So, what should we start with? Should we start with mailbag?
We can.
All right, let's start with
Well, you
mailbag.
already started. You started in on first thing for mailbag is, can an indie film make money?
Since I've already bitched for a couple minutes, I will stop. But I will say that yes, it can. But not every one of them will. And it's really up to you. Can you write a compelling story? I don't care if it's about a dog, a grasshopper, you, your life, your job, whatever it is. Think about it. It has to be interesting to somebody besides you and your parents. If you can do that, then yes, you can make money. I have been. And I don't know what's so cool about me. Next, what do we got?
This one's going to be fun. For a Red Dead Redemption movie, who plays John Marston?
So on the rumors that the Red Dead Redemption movie is coming, you guys, I'm curious. Who should play John Marston?
Well, one thing to know. Now, I'm sure John's the same, but at least the guy who played Red Dead 2, Arthur,
Uh-huh.
the guy who does the voice.
Yep.
Someone asked them, who would you want to play? And he said, well, me.
Uh-huh.
Right? And then he went on to say, you realize, he goes, that not only is it our voices, but they're using our body movements.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure what that means, but they're using it in the animation process, probably.
Well, it's because they've got those
Right.
suits on and
Right.
stuff.
And they're all actors.
Right.
So obviously a Red Dead Redemption movie is probably going to be some big named actor. But you know what? Wouldn't it be cool if it were the actual voices, the ones that are doing it, if they could pull it off? Wouldn't that be neat? I'm just going to throw that out there.
It could be really cool if it could be really cool if they're good actors, because obviously in a studio in that environment,
Yep.
it's a lot different than being in the costumes on set doing that.
And then we're in a sound booth. I get it.
And I think they took 5 years to make that movie. I heard somewhere, so that tells me that they had a lot of time with rehearsals and stuff like that. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, it would be cool. I don't know that it would ever happen.
Well,
Because
it's a lot of material too, just so you know. I mean, think about it. Red Dead 2, maybe I haven't played the others.
I don't know that it necessarily is about. I don't think I think it's its own story.
Sure.
It's not based on
Sure.
one or two.
I just mean as far as if you're doing voiceover work for a movie compared to a video game, typically video game's a lot more extensive. There's a lot more material.
Yep.
And some of those
you guys
voiceover actors are getting a lot of attention.
Please remember to share and follow. Appreciate you guys being here. We're talking about who will be the cast and who will direct the Red Dead feater. If you guys have any thoughts or any suggestions, fire them our way.
I don't know. Aaron asked, do they have a director for it?
Oh, I don't even know.
It might not
I'm
even
just
be a thing
hearing
yet.
rumors
Yeah.
about it. So,
Yeah, I've been hearing rumors too,
um,
and
I can think of people I don't want to do it more than
well,
you know,
who's the actor who's playing the ghoul now, and
Walter Goggins.
Walter Goggins is like people are in love with him right now because of this role, and he's good.
Oh, he's great. He's
He's
been a
he
lot
could
of
definitely.
fun.
I don't know if he'd be John, but I could definitely see him as a character
Yeah, that bad guy.
because he would be really good in it.
Who is like Arthur's right hand man as things start to fall apart? The guy up in the. It doesn't matter.
Dutch is the main is the leader in Red Dead 2, and then Arthur's kind of his right hand guy, and he's actually was training John.
Right, but there's another guy that is a real snide. He's got the mustache. He's the one that gets. And I don't want to give it away, but anyway, we'll talk about it later. What's your next one?
I don't know. I thought we were talking. What's that?
It's a Reddit discussion about this topic.
A Reddit discussion about this
Yeah,
topic.
would it be an adaptation or a spin-off or a prequel?
I think they should. I think. Oh man, there's a lot of.
Well, Red Dead 3, I think, got announced too. The game got announced.
Right.
Is that right? Well, that's cool. Good. Should I know they just put out some new stuff, so it's like you get to play a new game.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you got? Because I want to talk about movies here.
Sure. Well, the last one is the film industry dying?
Well, here's what I think. You guys stop because I'm gonna. Okay, so I did a little research. Okay. So let's see. Fandango's top 25 movies. There's one movie that's supposed to be the big blockbuster coming out this week. 25 movies. The big one is coming out not this week, but next week. It's The Fall Guy, Ryan Gosling. Okay.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's going to be any good. I happen to really enjoy Ryan's work
Ryan
most
Gosling
of the time.
Most of the time.
Some of it I could give or take, but I remember watching. Okay, I'm 50 years old, guys. I remember watching The Fall Guy when I was like 6. Who cares? Who
Oh, is that?
cares?
I didn't realize that was the property.
Yes.
Okay. I've
Yes.
seen I also watched The Fall Guy a little bit when I was a kid.
Lee Majors.
Lee Majors.
This is
And
what
Heather
they're
Locklear.
I
remaking.
did not realize that this movie was tied into that.
They're
so
remaking
distant in
that
my
movie.
memory
Yes.
is that show.
Who cares? Okay, so that's the thing. Now there's a few other movies, blah 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 blah, but I don't know. But here's the thing, you guys. There is nothing that is. I mean, Napoleon was supposed to be last year's big movie, and it ended up being a joke. And the reason why it was a joke is because Joaquin Phoenix, who was considered one of the truly great artists and actors of our time right now, he is this generation's De Niro or Pacino.
Sure.
And I do agree with that. He can
He's
be
awesome.
brilliant. Didn't even bother to pretend to have a French accent. Okay? When everybody else did.
So it was just weird.
So it's a joke. It's a joke. Okay? I mean, what was the other big movie that we got last year that was supposed to be the home run? Oh, Scorsese's film. If anybody else would have done that movie, would anybody care? Would it have been as big of a deal? I mean, I thought it was a decent movie. I thought it was a pretty good movie. But, you get Leo and Scorsese in a movie and you think it's going to be a home run. That wasn't a home run. That was not a great film. Not a great film.
Are you talking about Killer the Flower Moon?
Yes.
Yeah. I watched it. I liked it. I thought it was all right. I thought it would have made a better 2-part miniseries.
Yes, directed by almost anybody. Almost
I
anyone.
think those two. I mean, without them, I don't know.
Yeah,
It was good.
And it was an interesting story. What the white people did to these poor Native Americans in that movie is horrific.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad the story was told. But it is not. Was that an Oscar-worthy film? I don't think so. Okay, so moving on. Gosh, guys, I'm fired up tonight. I've been so mellow today.
Yeah. Well, I'd forgotten about Napoleon. It was so forgettable, but it was. I mean, I studied a lot of French history. My BA was in history and English, and with a focus on French history of the Napoleonic and Ancien regime eras. And I thought it was boring. It was not a particularly well written movie, a compelling story. I mean, Napoleon is an inherently compelling character, but it was so poorly done, and he was so miscast in the role.
Yes, absolutely. And now he's about to do a musical of Joker, which ought to be great. Good evening, everybody. For those of you that are just getting in here, thanks for being here. Let's see. So let's talk about some good stuff. So Aaron, you saw a movie. Let's talk about what you saw. So we're going to switch over to Aaron's Corner Reviews.
Right.
Let's talk about it, Aaron. What'd you see?
Well, last week we were talking about Monkey Man, and I was convinced to go out and see it. So I did. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I mean, it was exactly what Sean said it would be. And you didn't see it yet, right? So, I mean, you were just talking about what you'd heard. And it was very overt in its references to John Wick, even mentioning the movie several times in the plot.
Really?
Mentioning the John Wick, the gun that John had in the first movie. It was set in Mumbai, and it was a Bollywood movie on many levels, but it was not a musical. Well, that's not entirely true. I think there was a musical number.
One dance thing.
One dance thing.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Yeah, but it wasn't like that. I mean, like those movies are so over the top. Like RRR was one of my favorite movies in the last 5 years.
That was fun.
I would go and watch that movie right now.
Yeah,
that's fun.
It was so fun. But this movie, I mean, I can definitely see why it wasn't released initially. I can imagine, like we were talking about last week, if I'm, Mr. Marketing guy, and you bring me this movie, and even if it's only a $30 million movie, and you're like, market this, and I don't have any real imagination or understanding, I wouldn't know what to do.
So you think that Netflix kind of buying it and putting it out on their platform was the wise choice?
I think absent Peel showing up, yeah.
Well, they definitely got a lot of buzz when he came on because
People love
it
him.
probably, I don't know.
Because Dev Patel's directorial debut is less sexy than Jordan Peele really liked this movie in the current atmosphere.
Absolutely.
Although, that being said, I love Dev Patel. I thought he did an amazing job in the movie. I thought he was really good in The Green Knight. And I was excited that he had done some directing. And I was excited to see what he did with it. And it was all of the ways that John Wick is a brutal, violent, exciting movie.
Mm-hmm.
Those were all there. Like, he was definitely channeling his love for that movie. And he did really good with the physical work. Somebody in the theater brought a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, I think, give or take. Seemed a little weird, and they were sitting right in front of us. And so those two kids spent the whole movie staring at me, which was a little off-putting. But I prefer that over those kids watching what was on the screen.
See, and that's the thing. Like, it's just, there's a lot of problems. Common sense is always going to be one of them. I'll never understand what has happened to our society where you go to a movie theater and you put your bare feet on the chair right next to my head. What is wrong with you?
Same thing on planes. Unacceptable.
It is.
Yeah.
And you haven't been taught, or your parents have failed you if you don't know better than that.
Yeah.
And if you bring a child, now I have a 4-year-old. I do miss out on going and doing things quite a bit because we're very careful who we leave our child with. And sometimes those few people are busy doing other things.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not going to take him to see Monkey Man.
No.
You know?
I know what you mean. Almost any movie that came out in the 2000s. My son was born in 98. So anything pretty much between 98 and 2010. I just didn't see it.
Somebody said they can't hear us on TikTok.
I'm seeing.
I'm seeing.
It should be live now.
If you
And all of my brilliant retort gets lost.
Well, thanks for someone
Like
finally
7
telling us.
years in
We've
the
only
rain.
been on for like a half hour, so it didn't work the whole
But at
time.
least we're going out on YouTube.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my lord.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's what happens. I didn't have time for a full proper check and everything.
Oh
All
my
right,
God.
guys. So
time.
it's probably for the better because I did some real bitching about the film industry and you guys couldn't hear me. So for those of you people that were in here just watching me rant in silence, thank you. That was really
Aw.
awesome. Very, very cool of you. Man. So yeah, so we've done some, or I have done a lot of bitching tonight about the film industry in general. Talk soft or it vibrates. Man, I don't know. I'm ready to just. It's
Soft
yeah,
or it vibrates.
yeah. Like, what are you gonna do? Last week it was a hum. This, 2 weeks ago it was a buzz.
I think you got it dialed in.
So anyway,
You got it dialed in. She gave you a big pink heart.
Oh, look at that.
all right. So, Aaron was just giving us a review of Monkey Man that was very thorough. On a 1 to 5 stars, where would you put it?
On Netflix, it's a 5-star movie.
On Netflix, it's a 5-star film.
In the right theater, it's a 3-star movie.
Okay, fair enough.
But I'll tell you this: Dev Patel's got a future as a director.
Well, I like his work as an actor, so sometimes that happens where, good directors, I mean, I think Clint Eastwood is one of the great directors, honestly, and we all know how he started. So,
Well, Mel Gibson.
Another great example. Mel Gibson,
Incredible director.
Apocalypto.
Yeah. Wow.
Great movie. So I'm going to talk real briefly. These are movies that you can see at home right now if you want to, guys, and I think I recommend them. I don't think they're going to be movies that anybody's going to want to watch over and over again for the rest of their life, but I'm telling you now that they are pretty interesting movies. Okay, so the first one is called You'll Never Find Me. Okay, so this again is a movie that you can stream now. And the premise is horrible storm, nighttime, a guy in this trailer all by himself. And all of a sudden there's a bang on the door. He opens the door reluctantly, and there's a young woman out there soaked, lost, and needs shelter. So she comes into this guy's house. Both of them look like they're very nervous of the situation, and we don't know why. Okay? The tension is palpable. Okay? And the story kind of unfolds. It's a slow burn. I'm going to warn you guys. This is not an action movie. It's a slow burn, but it is very intense. It gives you a little bit of a thrill. You kind of feel a tingle in your spine because you're like, your mind cannot help but put you in that position. What would I be doing here? And the camera work, it's very subtle, but it's really interesting how they use the camera. A lot of times, sometimes you can go for, quite a bit of time without any dialogue, but you never feel like you miss it because you're just kind of getting absorbed by these people's eyes and their sideways looks and what's happening behind them and stuff. So again, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it about a 3.5 stars. I think I'd recommend it. I think it was worth seeing.
On a scale of 1 to 10?
Oh, I'm sorry. On a scale of 1 to 5. 5 stars being the best, 1 being a real dumper. I would say that about 3.5 stars. I think it was fun.
Okay. What's the time?
It's called You'll Never Find Me.
You'll never find me.
Okay? It's almost like a play. Okay? Basically, it's 2 people almost for the whole movie. So, but
And what's it on?
I can't remember.
Something.
Yeah. The other one I want to talk about, and I saved this for last, Aaron, because I think you mentioned that you'd seen it. I don't know if you've seen it yet, Sean, but it's called Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
All right. So for those of you, hello, everybody. Welcome. We're doing some movie reviews and talking movies. If you guys have any thoughts, ideas, or whatever, please do not hesitate to send us a quick thing. I'll look over here from time to time and try to answer you. Thanks, guys. Also, everybody on YouTube, thanks for hanging out. And don't forget, so this is the Everything True Cinema podcast. Please take a second now that you can hear us to go over and follow, and make sure you share it, because this is where we consider ourselves an informational place. We want to give you guys information and keep you informed about the movies that are coming up. All right. I just watched this movie last night, Aaron. Now, for Sean, the premise is it's set in like 1971, I think, and it's a Johnny Carson type. I'm trying to remember the character's name, but basically, it's that type of show, kind of like a late night variety show. And I think the show is actually called Night Owls.
Okay.
And this particular show, they're constantly getting beat by Johnny Carson. So this host, who started out doing really, really well, is now starting to get to the point where the network is like, is he ever going to get there? Do we need to look for a new host? You can feel that he's nervous that there could be some decisions made. So it's sweeps week on this particular night, and they bring in a handful of guests that are in the kind of supernatural realm. You know, we've got a guy that, like a psychic. We've got a guy to debunk it, who used to be well known for being almost like a con man. Okay. And then the main guest is this psychologist or psychiatrist who brings in this 13-year-old girl.
Yeah, she's some kind of like Stanford researcher, but you get the impression it's not the actual Stanford. It's like some
It's pretty interesting. So this girl, this young woman, somehow being prompted can channel some thing,
spirit.
some entity, and she's like handcuffed to a chair, and it's very
Sounds awesome.
It's pretty fun. Aaron, why don't you go
What was
first?
the name of the guy back in the 70s who would debunk everything? Started with a
The
C.
Amazing Randy.
Randy. Yeah, that guy was like just like the Amazing Randy.
And then, then Uri Geller was the guy
And
that
Uri,
he debunked on Johnny Carson.
Right. And that's who they had. So they had that kind of guy, that Uri Geller kind of guy on there, who was doing a psychic reading of the audience.
Right.
And gets, I don't want to give away too many plot points, but
Yeah,
gets something that's revealing about this host, who is our protagonist.
Right.
Sort of. I'm not sure he protags the whole time. But he's also got sort of a checkered past of involvement.
That we slowly get a little bit more information about.
My son wanted to go see this movie, and I don't think it had. Again, this is tying back to last week's conversation, a found footage movie. So, but I think it was well done, and it feels like found footage movies are oftentimes what you do when you don't have the budget.
Well, sure. It's a way.
But they did. That wasn't what they were doing, because they didn't cheap out on anything. It wasn't $100 million movie, but it wasn't cheap. And
I think the acting was very solid too.
I thought it was really good. Yeah.
I don't remember ever thinking anything was cringy.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the set design was great. I loved how when they'd go to commercials, we would see what the audience saw on their screen.
Yep. Because they present it as, here is the original footage from the night. So we get whatever the cameras are seeing at the time.
Even behind this, like when it goes to commercial and we go behind the camera, they're talking and drinking and smoking.
They've got the coke-fueled producer, and
who is what you would yeah, baby, you're killing it, man. This is going to be great for your career. That kind of, but it, that all stemmed from somewhere.
Sure.
So,
Anyway, I don't want to ruin
What's
the
it
movie.
called again? Something the devil.
Late Night with the Devil, and it's available for streaming, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I don't care for horror movies as a rule. I only like horror movies that have something else. Like, I don't like jump scares bore me.
I like horror movies,
but I like something there, and I I felt like that something was there, especially the acting of the girl.
Oh yeah,
And
she was amazing.
And the ending is properly over the top.
Okay. I don't disagree with anything that you said. I
It's
think
on Amazon Prime. So,
Is it now?
it's worth seeing. I really think so. I thought about going to see this movie at the theater, and I'm not mad that I didn't. Seeing it home was just fine.
Yep.
But it was a fun
Well, you
movie,
know-
and I thought, like I said, the set design, their clothes, I
Yeah.
really thought they did a great job, and there was a couple of times that made me go, oh, like I was never scared by any means, but it's a very entertaining
Check it
horror
out.
film, very entertaining.
And Aiden and I, we have a family membership. Our whole family is at the Varsity Theater. So we kind of just, anytime we're bored and there's nothing else going on, we just go to the Varsity.
These are the kind of movies they play in there too.
Yeah,
which
it's a
is kinda
nonprofit.
fun.
It's a nonprofit now. It's $5 a ticket off with a membership and free bag of medium popcorn.
Wow. So let's
go
talk
all the
about
time.
that for a second, because that's really cool, and we should probably let people know. By the way, guys, and I'm glad I didn't say this earlier, but so you know, this show is sponsored by B&B Market,
B&B Market.
home of the Killer Sub. So if you're in the Des Moines area, I know we've got people watching from all over, but if you are in the Des Moines area, make sure you go in there, say hi to the family. If it's a family-owned business, go in there and tell them Thor sent you. Get yourself a sandwich or a nice steak or something like that. Those guys are not only, they've been there for like 100 years, literally,
It's cool.
but they're also just really great people. And if they like you, they might even, invite you behind the counter and make you a sandwich.
Sure.
I know they've done that for me a time or two.
It's 2000 Southeast 6th.
2000 Southeast 6. Now, locals probably know where that is,
Sure.
but if you're traveling through, stop by. Go get a sandwich. This is one of those places that it's like one of those very special places in every city has those kind of mom and pop places that have been there 100 years, and you know you're going to get something special. B&B Market is that place.
We don't think of Des Moines as a big city, like Chicago, that actually has ethnic neighborhoods. However, that is like a little Italian neighborhood.
Sevastopol. That's what it used to be called, that neighborhood, Sevastopol.
I mean, and so there's other places there of interest, especially if you like Italian food. But that is a great place.
It is the South Side Bottoms. I mean, right there, like all my old pals from Lincoln. That's our neighborhood.
Sure.
By the baseball fields, by the soccer fields,
Sure.
Southeast 14th
Sure.
Street.
Sure.
So yeah, make sure you go down there and say hi to those guys. Tell them I sent you. They're awesome and they'll treat you right.
Yeah.
Very sweet people. Let's see. So we talked about those
The
movies.
Varsity was kind of the same way.
Thank you.
So my parents were both faculty at Drake, and so from a very early age, I was on campus, and I was turned loose to go find my own way, and the Varsity was right there. So
Yeah.
I'm so glad it
I saw some
That was
between that and what was the one that used to be at 42nd University, the movie theater? Was that the Sierra?
42nd University. I know which one it was.
I don't think it was the Sierra.
There's a Godfather's there now.
Yeah, well, there was that close too. But those two theaters, I saw so many movies there.
I didn't even know there was a theater there.
Was it theater?
42nd University, right where the Godfathers was.
There used to be a lot more theaters in town. They were all over.
And the Varsity closed. Unfortunately, I think you mentioned last week that the family just couldn't keep it going. But thankfully, it reopened as a nonprofit.
That's
And
fantastic.
so now they do a lot of community engagement, and people go in and they show old movies.
Tell us a little bit about what is the membership, if you remember the details.
Oh yeah, no, the membership's great. There's a cheaper one that's like $100, $150 a year, and then the family membership is what I got, which is a little more.
Uh-huh.
And the only advantage I have is that I get the medium popcorn instead of the small popcorn. But what you get is you get $5 off your ticket every time you go, and you get a popcorn. And
It's pretty cool.
I
Well,
think
he
it's
lives
100,
close too, so he
100,
can really
150
take
a year
advantage
for
of
the
it.
basic version. I think I pay $250 a year.
You're going to
You've
spend
seen-
that much
It's
on
a, it's a write-off
entertainment
if you
anyway.
do your taxes.
They're going there a couple times a week.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. That's great. That's great. Well,
And
that's
now they've
cool.
got a little theater upstairs for screening. It's a very small theater. It's only got like 3 or 4 rows, maybe a total of 30 seats. Very high quality projection system, but very small format. But what they
Interesting.
did is during Oscar season, they show all the shorts. So they show all of the animated shorts, all of the documentary shorts, all the shorts.
That's wonderful.
And they're super in love with movies and movie culture. They're great.
That's wonderful. Love it. That's great. That's great. Make sure you guys support them too.
Pick up a sandwich on your way. I bet they'll eat it there.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Let's see. What else is going on? All right.
They do have beer. Yeah. And
Oh,
they always,
get
they always
better.
have a
See?
mixed drink of the like a thematically appropriate. mixed
Oh,
drink.
that's even better.
All right. So, a couple quick headlines, you guys. Civil War stays in #1,
Okay.
barely, but it did.
It's pretty good.
I've been hearing mixed reviews. It seemed like when the movie first came out, everybody loved this movie. Everybody wanted everybody to see this movie. In the last couple of days, I've heard multiple people say that they've seen it and they were very disappointed.
Mm.
Now, if I remember correctly, you weren't over the moon about the film, but you enjoyed it. Is that right?
Yeah. I
And
thought
now
it,
that it's been on you for a while,
I
how
thought
do
it
you
was
feel?
interesting. I mean, I don't think my opinion's changed. I haven't read anybody else's opinion about it, but I think it asks some interesting questions in a fairly interesting way.
Yeah.
And it came up with an answer. It might be the wrong answer, but I mean that's what movies do. Good movies, anyway, make you think and give you a little bit of something to think about. Even if it's wrong, who the hell knows, right? So we have 3 or 4 terms of one president. He's a dictator. The rest of America gets upset about it. How does that play out?
Could
but-
be this way.
But they say every book is every book, even sci-fi, is always about today. That's what it is. This movie is about Trump, even though it pretends not to be, and about our fears about what might happen.
Interesting. Sounds depressing too.
Sure,
I digress. Let's move
A
on.
little.
it's not a laugh riot.
All right. We talked about this when we were muted. We'll talk about it again real quickly. Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. They're saying it sucks as bad as the first one.
That is hard, but I think-
You know,
Sean got to see it.
I
What's
watched
your
both
take?
of them. I watched both of them, and both times I had the same thing. Like literally, my sister said, "You want to watch the sequel?" I'm like, "I'm not sure I watched the first one." I'm not kidding. I sat down and fast forwarded through that whole movie, and I remembered it. I'm like, "Oh yeah, now I remember.
Mhm.
I did watch it. I don't know why I watched the whole thing." And then same thing with this. I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
Had a lot of potential. I think the story had a lot of potential. I think visually it's beautiful.
What's your grade? 5 stars.
Maybe a 2.
Watch it for Oscar season, folks.
It's just, I mean, what was the term you taught me tonight? Exposition?
Exposition.
Yeah. To me, when the movie has to spend, the first several minutes just narrating you to bring you up to speed, I'm already losing interest. This was too big of a project for 2 movies. It probably should have been a series, or they should have just taken one little part of the story instead of trying to do so much and no character development. You just basically get a 2-minute speech about why they're so badass. I
Filmmaking at its best from a director that, by most people's accounts, is considered a truly great action director.
had a lot of good action. I would give it that.
The new Deadpool trailer. Has anybody seen it yet? It's the one with Wolverine too. Do you
Yeah.
guys care about that?
Yeah.
Deadpool at all?
Yeah, I
I
love
really
it.
like the first 2. I
I'm
didn't
excited about
see the
this.
trailer, but I did see the poster
Yeah.
I've
of
seen
Deadpool holding Wolverine's hand, but like just like gently caressing
No, this is a big
the
deal.
knives.
It's a big deal.
Ryan Reynolds is one of the
I
coolest.
love him.
He has been forever, all the way back when he was a kid and he did like the lampoons,
Yeah, people might
and
say that
waiting.
cynical or
I mean, he's a goober.
opportunist or whatever.
Certain people
I don't think
just
so. He's just.
Why
Can
did they
make
say
you
that?
laugh.
I didn't. I
I've
wasn't.
heard people say things like
Is it because of his
Well,
cell
those are-
phone
those are
connection?
Yeah, it's just because he's like always looking for an angle to market something. But I don't
whatever.
fault him that. I just think he's a
I
really.
think he's awesome,
I think he's probably a genuinely fun guy,
and he gets
makes,
paid
makes
to do that.
genuinely fun movies.
Yeah.
Like everything we just said about Civil War is not true of this movie. It's not going to leave you with deep, profound questions about the nature of society, but you're going to have a really good time.
You're gonna laugh. I guarantee you're gonna laugh.
You're gonna laugh. You're gonna see some
You're gonna see
action.
really good action. You know, you're gonna get to see Wolverine kick
But
some
it's
booty.
also not going to be Zack Schneider where you don't know why the characters are doing what they're doing.
Right.
Exactly.
Like those are great choreographed fights, but nobody knows why the hell anybody's doing it.
It's true.
And that's
Yeah.
not going to be the case here.
Well,
We're
and
going
we've
to know
also
exactly
seen
why
him.
Deadpool wants to kill people.
We have seen him do dramatic roles too, and he's really brilliant in those.
He's great.
He's a very good actor.
He's a
Safe-
great actor.
What was that? What was that movie that he did with Denzel? Do you remember that? It was Safe House or something like
Something
that.
like that.
And he
Yeah, I
also was
remember.
in like Smoking Aces, I think, the first
He's-
Smoking
he's
Aces, and
really
he was
good,
great.
man. I love
Well,
him.
He's just a good actor.
I thought Free Guy was one of the funnest movies. Like, and it came along. It was one of the first movies I saw after COVID in the theater, and I thought it was a blast. And yeah, okay.
I watched that one with him and The Rock. I still like it. Where they're both well, he's a thief. He's like a catbird, like a high-end art thief. You ever seen that?
I don't think so.
No, and he did that movie with the guy that does all the Transformer movies. It was like I want to say Netflix's big production of the year that year.
I don't know. I mean,
He's like
I
a
don't know. He does
$100
good
million
movies.
movie.
He's fun.
He makes me laugh.
I also really like
Yeah.
The scene I ended up watching this movie twice just because of the preview, and the scene is they're both in a Russian prison, and they're both Americans. And he leans over and he's like, "Okay, don't worry, I won't let anyone know because being a policeman in here would be really bad. Policia, he is not." He starts going,
I don't know what that is, but it sounds like him.
Well, and the other thing I'll say is I do keep a bottle of aviation in my freezer, and it's probably totally because of it.
There you go.
There you go.
So we're going to be filming this week, guys, and we're going to be filming next week, and that's going to be live. So Wednesday night, we are going to be filming. Can we say it?
I would not disclose any locations.
Okay, Sean says we're not allowed to tell you, but I'm going to tell you.
It's a secret location.
It's a secret location, but I'm going to tell you where it is. We're going to be shooting in Des Moines, Iowa. And when you see it, you'll know what it is. But it's very, very cool. We're going to be shooting there, and I'm going to be doing it live on TikTok. So you guys will actually see it. Now, what's kind of cool about this is that, this is kind of funny, but I want to tell you guys, the producer is actually out of the country. So I'm doing this as a bonus. She doesn't even know that this stuff that I'm about to do on Wednesday is going to exist until she sees it in the movie.
Maybe we should get her to hop into TikTok.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, if she happens to decide she wants to get on TikTok, she'll see it. So yeah, guys, you're going to be right there with me directing this scene on Wednesday night. So make sure you come in. It'll be about 5 o'clock Central Standard Time, 6 o'clock Eastern. So yeah, make sure you check it out. It's going to be great. And then, like I said, we'll be filming some other really terrifying scenes next week and wrapping this movie up once and for all that we've been shooting essentially since September of last year. So I'm thrilled to be able to say that this guy is almost behind us. Not that I haven't enjoyed myself, but just for the simple fact that I feel like I've been working on Gladiator or something. This movie's been going on for half a year, and I'm ready to move on. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, so we're a week away, a little over a week away from having this movie in the can. So, very exciting. Hello, everybody that's on YouTube. Thank you for stopping in. Make sure you follow. If you're not, I assume that you are since you're here. Thank you so much. All right, guys, I'm going to turn it over to you. Who's got something interesting they want to? What's your point of view or something you want to tell us about movies that we need to know?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm still kind of really happy with the Fallout series. I really liked it.
I still haven't seen the second episode.
I mean, it's. I mean, there's. I won't get into the game aspect of it, but just as far as just a story, I really I like the characters and I like the way they're developing. They're actually giving you some character development in it. You don't hear a story about why the person is awesome. You see it. You know,
Well, that's the difference in great storytelling.
right.
I haven't seen it yet either, but I am planning on it. I've just been sometimes like depending on what the genre is of a movie that I'm working on, I'll try and get some movies in that genre in, not necessarily to copy them, but just if I'm fortunate enough to feel scared in a horror movie, then I want what was it that made me feel that way? So I try to analyze those things. Now, Sean, for those of you that don't know, Sean is going to be in a majority of those scenes that we're going to be shooting. So for all those ladies that keep hitting me up about him, he is married happily. So you need to know that. But he will be in front of the camera, so you guys will get to see him in action. And yeah, you're welcome. So why don't you talk a little bit about your process of getting ready for this character without giving too much away?
All right. Well, this is actually a pretty meaty character for. There's a lot of lines. I play the main character's dad, and so for me, when I have a lot of lines, what I like to do is I record the scenes. What I mean is I record everything. I record every person's voice. I do them all, right? And then I record all of it, and then I listen to it a lot. And I love to do it in my car. So I actually got the opportunity because I ended up having to go to Oklahoma for the weekend. So that's 9 hours down, and then I had like 7 hours back and 3 hours in between. I just did a lot of driving. And so it gave me a good opportunity to listen. So, at first I just listened to it a lot. And then as I'm doing that, I'm kind of thinking about the character and how I want them to be, how I want them to talk, that kind of thing. I play around with different things, and then I eventually just start working one scene at a time to make sure I got it.
That's very interesting. So that's kind of your prep for a character is
Right.
First you record everything and then you start playing that role off of the other voices.
Yep. And I also, another thing I do is, as much as I do that, I also try to not let myself get tied into something. Meaning, I try to do each scene maybe, I don't know, three different ways, kind of. What if it was more like this? That way, just in case when I'm on set and you say, I think I'd rather have it more like this, because ultimately we make the character together is the way that I look at it. You had this original idea, and then I kind of put my input in, and then when we get together, right?
Right.
So I need to make sure I'm on track with what you want. So that's a part of it too. I don't let myself get too locked in. Because I've seen that when actors, they'll have something perfectly memorized, and then the director will say, well, hey, can you do it like this? And they can't. They just do the same thing over and over and over.
Right.
I think that's why. I think it's because they hard coded it into their nervous system.
I've seen actors do that. They prepare something and it's not what the director had in mind, and they can't recover.
Right.
I interestingly enough, speaking of actors, I just saw this thing where Joaquin Phoenix was talking about Gladiator, which I think that's the movie that kind of shot him into stardom.
Sure.
And he was awesome in that movie. But he had said that like for the first big scene that he had, he said he was so scared because of the magnitude of the production, the
Yeah.
sets, the
Oh,
trucks,
wow.
everything. He said he was shaking so badly that he couldn't even get through the dialogue, and he had to keep doing it and keep doing it, and he said he was just terrified. So finally, after I think he said he'd done it, many times, the director pulled him aside and said, "Okay, you're doing great now. You got it all out of your system. I'm going to turn the camera on now." And then he was okay. But the director, Ridley Scott, was smart enough to go, "Okay, this kid's just,
Getting the bugs
real
out.
scared right now,
gotta
but
get
he's
the
going to
guy.
be okay. Let him
Yeah.
hammer it out."
Yeah.
So that's very
cool.
interesting. I always find it interesting to hear how actors prepare for. I mean, I don't think anybody does it quite the same. Some people come in and they wing it. Some people they treat it like they're just lying.
Oh.
Some people really do try and live
No,
in the body of the character.
I really have to put myself in the character situation and then think about how I would feel, how really would I feel, and let myself feel those feelings.
Well, that's cool. I mean, so you're hearing it here first, guys. And for those, I know that if you're following me, a lot of you that are movie people. So, you get to hear some interesting stuff from people that are doing this professionally. Hi, Josh. How are you? All right. What else should we talk about, guys? We're doing pretty good here. I feel bad. I feel like I cheated everybody because the first 10 minutes, nobody could hear all my bitching.
We did talk about the Red Dead movie, who would play John Marston, but I don't think we really ever.
No, you never gave me an answer.
We need some answers. Who would it be other than the voice actors? Who would you see playing John Marston?
Tom Hardy would be great.
I thought of Tom Hardy.
I think, he'd get some weird accent down and you put a scar on him and let him grow out his beard. And I think he'd be great. Leo would probably be great.
Of course.
Think of who would play Dutch.
Dutch is a great role.
Maybe Mel Gibson play Dutch.
Mel Gibson could play Dutch.
That'd be pretty cool.
That's a good. Yeah. Dutch is a great character, and the guy who does his voice, it's just such a good character.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun thinking about what that could be, and it would be fun because I'll tell you, me personally, I don't play a lot of games. First person shooters make me sick.
Right.
So that eliminates a lot of the most popular games right off the bat for me.
Right.
So, my main go-tos are Madden and the Red Dead games. And so I mean, everybody that plays them loves them, obviously. But man, I was playing it last night doing things that I found this crazy shotgun in this shack with these hillbillies. I found some gold bars. I found this treasure map, and I was all over the place.
Treasure maps, yeah.
And then found that it's like there's always, and then sometimes I'm just like, what? I'm going to be a serial killer. I'm going to go up on this hill, and every carriage that goes by, somebody's taking one. Bing. And then sometimes I want to be a hero. Oh, sir, can you help me? I got you, lady. No problem. Let's kill this
I always
snake.
forget that at any time in that game you can rob a bank.
See, I've never robbed a bank.
At any time you can go rob a bank. You just put on your thing and go in and rob the bank at any time. At any time you can rob a train.
I've never robbed a train.
I watch
either.
guys that's what one of the things they do is they go on and rob trains. Walk around and pistol whip everyone and take their money. I like the treasure hunting. I like that because there's actually multiple treasure maps you can find, treasures you can find.
Yeah.
Usually have multiple maps, so it involves. They're kind of hard unless you cheat, which I usually do. I get online and try to figure out where things are because just from the pictures, it's hard to figure it out.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and but there's some really fun ones.
What about the animals? Do you guys ever?
I do the hunting. I did the hunting thing.
Yeah, we always need bad guys. Always need bad guys. Hit us up. Red Dead Redemption we're talking about. Do you Do you hunt for what are they
The
called?
legendary.
The legendary. Have
I've
you
done a
got
lot-
any?
I've done a lot of them. Yeah.
I can't. I want the legendary grizzly, but I can't find him.
Well, that's in the story.
Yeah,
That's-
but
There's,
there's a legendary after, like Marston can go and find him. There's a spot where he's
Oh.
up there in the hills.
well, I forget. There's a lot. There's so many. They're probably. I think you're right. And then there's a wolf.
I got the wolf.
Panther's hard.
There's even fish.
There are fish, and honestly, I worked the fish for a while, but it's I didn't like it as well.
It's boring. I don't care
boring.
about fishing.
It's boring. I just didn't like it as well. But the legendary animals I did. I thought it was pretty fun.
I've never played the game.
It's so fun, man. It's so easy to.
My son's played it all the way through. He loved it.
The first one's amazing too.
I purchased it. I just haven't played it.
Plus, if you do the legendary animals, the other thing is there's all the crafting stuff. So you do that, and then you get items from them, and then you can take them to a guy.
The fence.
There's a fence, yes, and there's also like a trapper guy who makes stuff out of the furs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He can make like custom armor and stuff. That's what a lot of that's about.
For those of you that are in here, we're discussing Red Dead Redemption. One of the best games that's ever been made, in my opinion. It's one of my favorites.
It's
just so good.
Some of the random events are the ones that make me laugh the most. Okay, like you're riding along and you hear some people talking. You stop, and if you look, you can see a little campfire and these two guys talking. And there's like two hillbillies, and they're like, "Yeah, that's not what you said last night," that kind of thing. One night I walked by and there was a Klan rally going on.
See, I saw a video about that.
It's happened to me twice.
I haven't seen
and
that
the first
yet.
time, I just walked up in there just to see what would happen, and nothing really happened at first. And then someone I don't know, we ended up shooting in one, and then it was on, right? Mm-hmm. And I shot a bunch of them, and I escaped because there was a whole bunch of them. So I'm like, man, if that ever comes up again, I'm just gonna wipe those. I'm gonna wipe them out, right?
Yep.
And it did. I just threw a stick of dynamite into the middle.
Yep.
Awesome.
So is this like a random encounter?
It's a random thing. If you're out in this right place at the right time, all of a sudden there's like 30 guys doing a Klan rally up on a hill, and you're like.
See, I've been playing Baldur's Gate, and Baldur's Gate is a really robust story, but there isn't any of that unexpected random stuff.
Oh,
there's so free many. World. You can go anywhere. You can do anything.
Well, there's a really weird one, and it's fun. Is if you start getting clues in Saint Denis, if you follow the clues, and you're out after you follow the clues, you can actually find a vampire.
Okay. There's a lot of that kind of stuff.
You can find a vampire.
But it's not. Nothing that's truly random. Like if you know everything, you know everything.
Oh, well, okay, there are random. So that's true. That's not a random encounter. That's a little more. So another good example of random encounter is there's multiple ones where there's people on the side of the road, like a guy asks for help. And if you stop, he just grabs you and throws you off your
Sometimes. Or sometimes he might say, you know what, here's the deed to my old cabin.
Sometimes they help you, right. So you don't know what it's going to be.
Women, too.
Yeah.
Women could cry for help, and
one time they need help, the other time they're going to try to cut your throat.
Yep.
But the creepy ones are in the swamp. And there's one where you hear a woman crying, and she's literally in the swamp, and you see her, right? And you go towards her, and she's just sobbing, right? And as you go to her, you realize she's kind of shimmering.
Oh,
right?
Interesting.
And she's like a ghost or something, So
there's gators. You got to be careful when you go in certain bodies of water.
Oh, the gators! Actually, at first, at night you don't see them, so you trip over them, and then your horse throws you, and then they kill you.
Yeah, they get pretty upset. Those horses.
As soon as you hit the ground, you're dead.
I'll have to play this sometime soon.
I think you'd enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Basically, I think it's, and I don't really play.
If you like westerns in particular.
Yeah, it's like Grand Theft Auto, except set as a western.
It is exactly that. It's the same. It's the same. which is I've never played that, and
Yeah.
this makes me want to try that.
Well, that's one Ames and Ella played a lot, but or many games, but I don't know if that's or not. But I've never played that either.
Well, Red Dead is great. In fact, as the beginning of it, the intro, it's like watching a movie, and you're in a movie. That's what's cool about it. It's like being in a movie.
Give me a movie trivia question. Anything.
Movie trivia question.
You got one, Aaron?
Nothing offhand.
Movie trivia question.
What was Steven Spielberg's first movie, guys? Steven Spielberg's first movie. Write it in the comment.
I was watching something the other day about Spielberg and Jaws.
Daniel Bowles,
They mentioned
welcome.
it.
Cheryl Asher. No, Annette, good guess. It's not Jaws. Good.
You said Jaws.
He was very young when he did Jaws, but he'd already done one before that.
Mhm. I just watched it the other night, actually. It was
I
pretty
was
fun.
just watching a thing about Jaws, and they mentioned it, but I cannot remember the title.
I'd be Jaws.
Want me
is
to
your
tell
first
you?
movie.
You guys ready? Give up? Duel.
Duel.
Yeah, you ever seen it?
I don't think I've seen
I've
it.
not, but that is the now that you mentioned it.
It's fun. It's about this guy. It starts out like the camera's on the car. You hear footsteps coming out of the house into the garage. The garage door opens. He gets in, boom, fires up the car. Car backs out of the driveway. Is driving. Then it cuts to we see he's like a middle-aged businessman, and he's driving through LA. All of a sudden, he's in the country, and that's when the story really starts because there's this giant, disgusting, muddy, dirty, like oil rig that's chasing him around all of a sudden. So the whole movie becomes him like trying to get in front of or behind or
I
not
don't
get
remember
knocked in.
this. It's called Duel.
Yeah. So my 8th grade social studies teacher, for whatever reason, one day brings in the projector or the TV and the VCR
Right.
and lets us watch that movie. And we found out that he does it every year. He just loves the movie. Now, when you're a kid in 8th grade, that's the dumbest movie ever. But
You remember it.
but it's a good movie, you guys. It's very like intense. Very intense.
Duel.
Well, Spielberg is
He's
a
awesome.
very, very good director, maybe the best.
Whoa. He's good. Let's not go too far.
And maybe the best visual storyteller.
He's very good. All right, guys. I think that's a wrap. We're over our hour. You guys, thank you so much. I'm very sorry that you guys missed the first few minutes of our audio. I want to thank our co-hosts. I couldn't do it without these guys, Sean and Aaron. You guys are great. And I love these little segments. And we're trying to figure out more cool things because I want to hear more of I want to hear more opinions and things like that. And I want you guys to participate too. I want you guys to feel like you can send me questions and stuff, and I'll look at them and we'll discuss them because we want this to be a community thing. Everybody loves movies. Oh, look, we're about to stop, and we've got more people in here than we ever had. Daddy's in the house. What's up, Cato? I don't know you, but that's a cool name. And then
maybe we
on
should do
YouTube.
A whole talk about comedies and what makes comedies funny. It's a hard one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why did Ghostbusters 2 suck?
Oh, we can talk about that.
Well, tell me right now, because exactly
I don't know,
what
but I know it did.
it's.
Well, I think,
Ghostbusters 2 sucked because the first one was such a fun, cool, unique, new experience, right?
Yeah.
And when you see 2, it's just a rehashing of what we just got to see that we love so much.
it's hard. Sequels are hard. I mean, there's a few examples where number 2 is better.
That's another question. Can either one of you name a movie where the sequel was better than the first one?
People say Star Wars.
Empire Strikes Back is definitely.
I would say that.
You know,
You know?
I wouldn't say they're
I think
better.
I'm of two minds on that, but I think it's because the first one was so pivotal to me. It's hard for me to say that it's not.
But it definitely is just as good, at least.
It's at least,
And that's where, like,
and probably better.
like
but it's hard for me.
I love the movie Alien. And you know what?
That's true. You're absolutely
And
right.
I love Aliens. I love them. 1 and 2 are great. Kind of went downhill from there.
They did.
But those first 2 are awesome. Terminator and T2
Is there a comedy where
are
the
great.
sequel's better?
Oh,
Hangover 2?
No, but
No.
Hangover 3 was better than 1 and
Hangover
2.
3 was really good.
I'm not sure I've seen it.
I hurt myself today.
These guys are great.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, well, let's think about it for next week.
All right.
What comedy has a sequel that's better than the original?
I don't know.
Meatballs and Meatballs 2?
I mean, well, maybe.
Caddyshack and Caddyshack 2?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I'm
Do you
gonna
consider the vacation
recommend a movie for you
sequels?
guys to see if you haven't seen it.
Huh.
All right.
I'm gonna watch the devil one.
Yeah, you'll enjoy that,
Yeah.
and I think your son will enjoy watching it with you.
Yeah.
You guys will have fun. God, what's it called? It's one of my favorite comedies. It's Robert De Niro, Charles Grodin. Charles Grodin plays an accountant who's ripped off the mob, and now he's hiding. He's skipped bail,
Yeah.
and Robert De Niro plays the bounty hunter that has to find him, and
Yeah.
he does. And they have to travel across country by midnight on Friday for him to get his money, for De Niro to get his money. And Charles Grodin is every single opportunity that he can find, he's doing something to ruin the plan. It is, God, what is it called? Oh, hang on. Midnight Run. Yes.
Oh yes. Okay.
Every time I see that movie, I am crying. And I'm not even like a comedy person. I don't even really, I like to laugh, of course, but most things just aren't that funny to me. People are funny, not movies.
Right.
But oh my God, that movie is so great. So perfect.
All right.
Check it out. All right,
All right.
everybody. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. Have a great night. We'll talk to you soon. Don't forget to come and see us Wednesday night.